programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Oh, yeah, we can't play that game.
Oh, what happened?
Yep, because that was a quick out, but I can say it's now 8:09 and a half.
Okay. I missed
and
it
a half.
completely. I missed it when you were here. I failed you. I failed.
The thing is, did you fail or did you fail miserably?
No, I wasn't too miserable, so I would just say I failed.
Yeah, I dealt with the fail miserably.
You did?
Yeah.
You know, I heard that, and here we were all excited because we heard you were down in Florida. And we were all excited. Somebody told us. I don't know where I heard that. Somebody mentioned it. And then I saw the catastrophe that befell you. Oh, dear, Ken, you did not have the best time of your life.
No, and
I was counseling whilst he was down there.
Wallaced. I'll bet you were.
And
You were.
it's looking
I
like
gone through a tough time.
it's looking like Chase is going to get my money back on that, but
Or at least some of it.
most of it.
So what happened, Ken? You had it all planned. You had a hotel. You had your flight.
You were talking
all
good
set.
things as you left?
Yeah. You were all excited as we heard about it again and again and again.
The views expressed by the host during his monologue are those solely of his own, not those of Westfield State University, the radio club, our underwriters, or people who have traveled and not used Booking.com. And now...
See, you were Xing about my experience.
Yes.
These
I was Xing.
pages here might cover it.
I didn't even have to prompt him. I didn't even have to get a prompt for this one. Kathy did the prompting.
I think, though, Peter, he's got enough pages here to equal Lord of the Rings, all 3 novels.
Yes.
You know, for the
I think it was that epic.
For the disclaimer, we might as well add Broadmoor of Miami Beach on there, too.
No, they deserve what they get.
Deep sigh.
OMG, where the hell do I start?
And I know you didn't want to start with OMG.
Last week, I went on a trip into the very bowels of hell. Now, let me start off by saying that 2 days prior, there was something in the back of my head saying, Ken, are you sure you don't want to change your destination? I reviewed everything again and was a go for my new original plans. I took advantage of a Black Friday sale on Bookings.com. Thousands of people do this every hour. There are legit deals to be had. Destination, the Broadmoor Hotel in Miami Beach. Yelp and TripAdvisor reviews are 50-50. Y'all know I travel a lot, and I can tell you that if they are 50-50, odds are the place is decent. More people are apt to leave a negative review versus write a review that praises. That's just how we are. This is why 50-50 reviews are usually good. I arrive at my destination, and the Uber driver can't even get to where I was staying.
Uh-oh.
The road was closed and torn up for construction.
No.
I was dropped off a block away.
Oh, stop it. No.
This was the first time I was wondering if I should have listened to that little nag in my head the previous day. Upon first entry, the place smelled. It smelled of cleaning chemicals, but not only cleaning chemicals, but it smelled of age. I proceeded to start the check-in process. Thankfully, my OCD helped me with dealing with a few issues, since I screenshot every confirmation and correspondence. I also photographed every issue I dealt with. I posted photos to my Facebook timeline so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's going to be something else coming up, too. Trust me, you'll like it. This dump charges an $18 per night resort fee, which, by the way, on Booking.com, it says it's $15 and change.
That's a lot of change.
These are one of those junk fees that creepy Uncle Joe wants to go after. Included in the resort fees, according to the hotel's website, were lounge chairs to bring to the beach. When I asked where I could locate them, I was told that they only provide them Thursday through Sunday. I noted the website does not specify any caveats with that, and I showed them. I was told that websites are a difficult thing to manage and deal with. And right then and there, I stopped him and said, I literally build websites. That would take 2 minutes to correct tops. He would not give in on this, even with my pressing. And he began to mansplain to me that the resort fees cover other things like being able to sit in the lobby.
What?
Yeah.
You have to pay to sit in a lobby.
At this place, yes.
Yeah, right.
This first-class BS artist was putting more spin on things than MSNBC. See what happens once you get your Chromebook working in your new hotel room?
You're welcome.
You can sit down and write.
You're welcome.
That was just that fixed itself. After checking in, I was informed that I was not actually staying at the hotel, but at their sister property next door. That little voice in my head was starting to say, "I told you so." You know, I don't mind old, dated rooms. I'm not picky. At least I didn't think I was.
Did it have rotary dial?
Yeah, I had didn't even have a phone in the room.
Oh, well. Black and white TV?
We'll talk about the TV.
Uh-oh.
I've seen better prison cells.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That's a story for another day.
Oh, no.
There are multiple issues with the room. Too many to name off here, but one of them was the light bulb socket on the one and only lamp.
Oh, gee.
It was broken and wires were coming out of the fixture.
Oh,
the bulb
dear
socket
gosh.
was bent over 100 degrees.
Oh, no.
And its electrical connections were exposed. I was going to call up a photo of that, but I'm going a different direction. You know, you can't make stuff like this up. I also require a fridge in the room to keep my insulin nice and cold. This was communicated with them beforehand, and I received a response that my room included a fridge. There was no fridge. I was told that I needed to wait for a room to open up. An hour later, I was informed that a maintenance man would put a fridge in mine. Okay, I have my fridge. The communication from them also informed me that I would have a view of the pool. Now, shortly, we'll see what the view of the pool looked like. It was not a view of the pool. I couldn't tell if the pool looked refreshing or not, but I decided I was going to press the issue. But, you know, eventually I'd be protesting the charges and everything. But it was one thing after another in this place. So the television was sitting on a shelf about 24 inches off the floor of the room. This table is higher than 24 inches. I needed to put pillows under it just so I could see it when I was in the bed. There's no cable or satellite,
Oh, jeez.
like the website says. This place had a master antenna system,
Oh, no.
and half the channels that were programmed in said no signal. It keeps getting better. I decided to get some ice,
Uh-oh.
which I was informed was included in the resort fee.
Well, at least you got something.
There was no ice bucket in my room. And when I went to the desk and told them this, I was told, if there wasn't one in your room, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, that was their answer?
Yes.
Not, I'll get you one. I'll take care of it.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'll find one.
I don't know what to tell you.
Ay, they should be fired.
I ended up using a plastic bag from Wally and put it in my sink. The following morning comes around and it's time to shower.
Oh, I wouldn't even try.
There's a used bar of soap on one of the tub wall
Oh,
shelves
stop. Oh, yuck.
and a used face cloth draped over the curtain rod that could only be seen if you drew out the curtain. This thing was probably up in someone's junk. This means also that shower curtain was not changed between guests. That was it. The decision to leave was made. And at this point, the construction equipment started up. The jackhammer was shaking my floor. I decided to go walk on the beach before I did anything else. I walked a mile in the surf, and at the half mile point, I could still hear the construction equipment. Even if I had a beach chair, there would have been no peace.
And an ice bucket.
Once back at the hotel, I started my search for properties I could go to that would not break the bank, since the hotel would not be refunding me. I looked at both North and South Beach. Anything that wasn't a hostel was way out of my range, partly because it was a last-minute booking. I ended up at a chain hotel by the airport, and there's nothing to really walk to there. There are sidewalks, but no eye candy. So on the radio to my new location, it was announced during the weather report that the next few days would be the coldest it has been in southern Florida in over a year. Yay. At least the pool at the chain hotel is in the sun. And even if temps only get to the low 70s, I can still lie in the sun for a bit since the sun is strong in that area. In fact, it only took 1 hour to get some color without getting dangerously close to getting burnt. I tried to use the pool, but you know, it was colder than my pool ever has been. I needed that exercise. You know, this was also the first time since I arrived that I have gone the entire afternoon and night without smelling weed. Am I going to go to Miami Beach again? And at this point, I was saying, yeah, sure I will. But I might have different plans. But, you know, maybe I will, if I go, maybe I will stay in South Beach, where the douches and bros hang out. They can afford it because Mama and Dada pay for it. But I would have to set up a Christmas savings account at the bank so I could save for the trip that I will book directly. Do they still have Christmas savings accounts?
I don't know.
All my life, I never used a booking service. This was the first and last time. You know, I may use them to search for properties, but will always book directly. So you have more tooth in negotiating if you have issues. This is also the first time I've ever had to leave a property. I'm tolerant of minor issues and don't have visions of caviar and champagne, so I'm not a prima donna. This place had found every way possible to poke the bear. I actually got to the point where I didn't want to be there one more minute. Because I am a glass half empty person, I'm not expecting to have success in getting a refund or a credit, but we're looking like we're gonna. But that extra unexpected $400 hit in order to bail probably doesn't seem like much money to people, but that is more than what I pay for groceries for an entire month. At least $100 more than what I spend every month. At least next month, I'm going to a known resort in Orlando where they remember me. And I will have the resort pool all to myself during the day while his families go spend a lot more than I just did to go see the mouse. F the mouse. F the Broadmoor. Piss off. Take a long walk off a short pier.
Oh, my.
Keep walking east until your hat floats.
Uh-oh.
Pound sand. Go take a dump in the ocean.
Apparently, somebody took a dump in the pool, and there's pictures of it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
On Yelp.
Take off, eh? And they left it in the pool. Nobody would take it.
Yeah,
Take it
they
out.
said a kid had to take it out.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys.
A guest.
And this wasn't a chocolate bar like Bill Murray picked up and ate. So, yeah.
Did you read the Yelp reviews before you went? Because I'm like reading them all. And
I'm looking at
and
them.
there's like they're all 1 stars. The couple of 5 stars, I don't know. I don't understand how you put a 5 star.
Well, I also based it on the 3.0 average, which I'm going to show in a couple minutes.
I'm reading a whole mess of 1-star reviews. Like,
You know,
this hotel website is an absolute scam. This is the trashiest hotel I've ever stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
One of the locals said this hotel is in the process of being condemned by the city health department. Hopefully that's true because they are actually injuring people. Here's some pictures of mold that made me sick. All the recent 1-star reviews are 100% accurate. Horrible. They are still renting rooms. And that was April 4th, 2023.
Well, if you look at if you start to look at it, and you start in with, you know, if you're good with Google and you know what to look for, this place has quitclaim deeds on it with the city of Miami Beach.
My question is, where do places like Booking.com, where do they get their information? Do they check it out, or do they rely on the hotel providing it?
Apparently, they rely on the hotel providing it, and I don't think they vet them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that-
just
I
they
think-
just pull from the hotel.
Booking.com, it's based in the Netherlands as well. If I knew that, I never would have used them. to
I think the
begin with.
property submits to Booking.com as a provider, and they don't really vet them very well.
Yeah. So the place had a 3.0 out of 5 rating. And
I would have dug deeper into the reviews.
well, yeah, and you know, in the past I have. You've seen the places I've stayed at. I've seen worse reviews, and the places haven't been bad. But in this case, it was just bad. And the pictures that I took, I am submitting to the Board of Health in Miami Beach. I'm going to be submitting some fire and safety issues to other departments in that city. I'm going to do all this once I get my money back.
the beach is public property,
Which
not
should
a
be
private
within
beach.
1 week. Yeah. That's covered in the video coming up.
I love the beach chair story.
Yeah.
Seriously. Only on certain days. Okay, well.
A couple of people left right after they checked in.
Yeah. See, I give a place. I always give a place a benefit of a doubt, but I was pushed. Like I said, it was they poked the bear in all the right places this time.
Well, I don't know what to tell
And
you.
so I'm contacting, like I said, the Board of Health and other departments in the city down there with photos, photographic evidence of what's going on. So I'm going to be a PETA to this place. They couldn't play nice and say, okay, we understand, we're not
We'll
meeting
help
your
you.
thing.
What can we do for you?
You're
So
not,
their reputation on Yelp is to be
Yeah.
rude to the guests too, and never give a refund.
yeah, you're not.
It's interesting, though, Peter, how just, okay, thank you for letting us know. We'll do what we can. You don't have to do it, but just to answer nicely.
They don't even do that.
No.
Yeah, that just goes such a long way with people.
No. That's
Just the answer
that's
of,
a canned
well, I don't know
answer,
what
and I
to
don't
tell
accept
you.
it. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. That's just...
And they gave that to more than one person because I read that in several reviews.
It raises your hackles right away.
Yeah.
Other than saying, thank you, sir, we'll see what we can do. Just the difference in presentation. So obviously, they don't care.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
We have your money. Ha, ha, ha on you. We don't care.
Yeah.
Shame on you, sucker.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. You're exactly right. And they know it.
And as I was starting to say, I have all the time in the world to be a PETA. All right? They couldn't play nice and go, okay, well, we understand you're not going to stay the next 4 days, so we're not going to keep your money for you not staying, and then turn around and book the room anyway and double dip. So they wanted to play that way, and when you see a video coming up in a minute, you'll see how they lied. You had to go through Booking in order to get the refund. So Booking puts a request in. And
Did you tell Booking it was a public beach?
yes. And they go, we can only act as an intermediary, and what the hotel says is final.
They probably have all kinds of disclaimers.
Yeah, I'm sure they
Isn't that
do.
a
Yeah, and I'm looking through all their guarantees, and
Yeah,
it's completely
they don't have
BS. Anywho, I'm going to be a PETA because they just wouldn't play nice, and
That's what happens when you don't get your ice bucket, folks.
I mean, I've
Never.
stayed at hotels that are definitely motels, right?
yeah,
But they're clean, they're old. So what?
the room,
Like the place I stayed in South Cocoa Beach.
yeah,
That place was awesome. And it was very, very old and it was very dated, but it was right on the beach and it was clean.
I bring a UV light with me when I travel.
Jeez.
The room passed the UV light. The toilet wasn't covered with piss. There weren't any stains on the bed linens or bed sheets.
That's unusual according to the reviews.
Well, I trust my UV flashlight.
I'm just saying, most people have said there's unknown stains. They weren't sure there was blood or other substances.
Yeah, and because I travel with a flashlight, and because I do vet properties before I go. This one seemed, you know what? Maybe this, maybe this really is a decent place to go to. But I was really shocked that the UV light test passed.
Did you put it on that face towel? Did you UV the face towel?
Oh no! I hadn't seen the face towel until the following morning.
I like the used
But
soap. Used soap.
Yeah.
What on earth do you do with used? Oh, that's
Well, but
so
that's even
gross.
just basic.
Yeah,
that means there's no
Gross.
attention to detail.
I had no need to question the tub or anything because the toilet with the UV was clean. The sheets were clean. I'm like, okay, well, at least they're cleaning the place. Damn.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
So
Oh, wow.
I spent 3 nights in a airport hotel stewing over this. And it still wasn't enough because I came home and I'm still stewing over it. And as soon as I got home that night, I compiled all my documentation, all my photos. If I have to provide additional proof to Chase, I have 40 pages of documentation that they're going to be getting in a 14.5 by 17 envelope,
Oh, dear.
which is a legal size envelope. And it undeniably, it would go in my favor with all this documentation. So I have that ready to go. I'm pretty sure because they're going for 3 out of the 4 nights, the bank, the hotel's not going to have anything to say because, oh, yes, he did check out. So I'm still stewing on it, and I'm working the ghost tours, and I'm like, oh, all right. Saturday night, we finish up. The tour's around 8:30, and we're all breaking down. We're all working it together. So come 9:30 or so, we're done. We got everything broken down, loaded up. So I get home about 9:45. I sit down at my computer.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, I wonder how to do this or that in Adobe. And it was really, what I wanted to do was really simple. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to start this video. Now, my intentions were to do a review video at some point after I get my money back and release it. This is on top of me writing scathing reviews on everything, TripAdvisor, Yelp, Booking.com, after I get my money back because I just...
Okay.
I can wait the extra.
I would wait. Yeah,
I can wait the extra week or two.
That's smart because you don't want to irritate.
So I made this video. The thing is, I didn't just start it. I just got into it, and as I'm getting into it, I'm getting more pissed and more pissed.
Oh,
I'm reliving everything.
Yep.
And
The PTSD is coming back.
and come 4:15 in the morning, I have a completed product. And it's a pretty scathing video. I think the production work on it was okay, seeing that I did it when I was pissed and it was like 3 in the morning and whatnot. So I actually, because I said I'm not going to post anything until after I get my money back, I'm pretty sure that these people in Miami Beach are not watching my program. So I will at least play it here.
They're not watching number 25.
Yeah.
Or
Nor do they
26.
care.
Yeah.
Nor do they.
So let's watch that video, Pete.
What did we experience with the Broadmoor Hotel in Miami Beach? First, let's look at some of the reviews. You can see there are a lot of negative reviews. The metrics we use when we look at reviews allow for a 50-50 mix of both bad and good reviews when we research where we might stay. This is because more people will leave a negative review before people will leave a view praising a property. This location was higher than 50-50 towards negative, but we ignored our gut and booked anyways. The Broadmoor in Miami Beach describes itself as a boutique hotel, but in reality, the property they are touting is dated, run down, and in our case the room had multiple safety, health, and fire hazards. After viewing this film you will wonder, like we did, how this place had an average rating of 3 out of 5. Upon checking in, we asked about the beach lounge chairs that are included as part of the resort fee. We were told that was only Thursday through Sunday, so we called up their own website on our cell phone to show them that was not specified, and their response was, "Websites are a difficult thing to deal with." After our challenge, they would not give in, and explained to us that the resort fee covered other things, such as being able to sit in their lobby. We were promised a room with a pool view. Check out the awesome view of the pool we had, through windows that appeared as if they hadn't been cleaned in a year. Look at this lamp. This was the one and only lamp in the room. Exposed electric wires on a broken socket. This is both a fire and a safety hazard. Look at the lock on the door, or the lack of one. The safety bolt was actually removed from the door. The bathroom was in rough shape. From the condition of the floor to the vanity looking like it saw combat, you have to wonder, where is the pride the ownership takes in this property? There was an ice machine that could be accessed by going next door to the main property. Our room did not have an ice bucket, and when we asked at the desk for a bucket, the response was, "If your room does not have a bucket, I don't know what to say."
I don't know.
What do you do when the property can't provide an ice bucket? You use a plastic shopping bag. When we went to shower, there was a used bar of soap on the shelf in the tub wall, and a used washcloth was draped over the shower curtain, which indicated that the shower curtain was not even changed between guests. This is what broke the camel's back, and caused us to check out early. We booked through Booking.com, who contacted the property regarding a refund, and their response was that the refund was denied, since we were bringing people onto their private beach. The thing is, this place does not have a private beach. This is a screenshot of the Miami Beach GIS information we called up online, and it clearly shows that the beach area is the Ocean Terrace Public Beach area. The property lied in order to not have to issue a refund. The funny thing is that we could not easily access the public beach area, since the road was torn up, and there was a construction zone directly in front of the property. We understand construction happens, and can see past that, although the hotel should have posted that construction is ongoing, and offer reduced rates because of this. Unfortunately, with all of the issues we had, and the property lying to our booking service about beach access in order to avoid issuing a refund on the nights we refused to stay, we cannot recommend staying at the Broadmoor in Miami Beach. There were other issues, but we think we shared enough with you so that you can make a decision on whether you want to stay here or not. I would spend an extra $50 a night to not have to deal with the health and safety issues, or a corrupt business. I have seen better hostels and jail cells. Do yourself a favor, and don't stay here.
No, okay, there we are. Did I get the point across?
That's awful. That is ugly. That is just very ugly. You should release that to the news stations after you get your money back.
Yeah.
Don't do it before.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about sending it to the local Miami
Oh,
news
God,
station.
yes, I would.
So I'm going to be hosting that on my own personal YouTube page, and it's going to be titled Broadmoor Miami Beach Review.
Don't do it until
my
your money's back.
Yeah, I know. I'm holding off on that, but it's going to be called Broadmoor Miami Beach Review. Now, whenever you Google something or go onto YouTube looking for Broadmoor Review, it's going to show up.
It'll bring it up, yeah.
And I'll be hashtagging it Broadmoor as well.
So they told you brought someone on to the beach?
That's the lie.
Mm-hmm.
So you're there by yourself. You don't know anybody in there, but you managed to bring a crowd of people onto
Absolutely.
the beach. Boy,
Yeah, they're private beach.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could get a lot of people that quickly. And furthermore, how would they even know?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have a chair. So you brought people onto the beach, but you didn't have a chair.
Right.
And you had no ice.
No.
That's ridiculous. You brought people onto our private beach.
Mm-hmm. How'd you like the video?
They don't. Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah. Does it really convey that the place is a POS?
That lamp. But I agree with Peter. I mean, I've been in rooms that they weren't exactly spa rooms, but They're clean, they're comfortable, you're staying for one night, who cares? But for 3 or 4 nights and then they won't refund your money.
Yeah.
Most reputable places, if you say I had an emergency and I had to cancel, they'll refund your money. Cruises won't. Cruises will not. You don't get your money back. But at most places, if you have a good, reputable reason, they would let you have it.
Yeah.
Honestly. I love the answer, though. I love that answer. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh.
Hey.
That's just even the staff knows. And the staff, unfortunately, the staff working there know that they have a horrible hotel and there's nothing they can do about it, and they've just given up.
Yeah.
Can't you go to another room and get an ice bucket?
They've given up.
I mean, how hard is that to do?
Apparently, there's 2 buildings. Were you in the tower or were you in the other building or something? There's 2 buildings.
Yeah, I wasn't in the main building.
Somebody said that might be a little nicer, but
I doubt it.
yeah.
I don't know why it would be.
No, I was in there. No way. No way.
You mean you didn't want to go sit in their lobby, but you paid $18 for that to go sit in their lobby?
That's crappy that they try to sell you beach chairs for a beach that they don't own. At one point, they may have owned it, but the city probably
No,
took it off.
they never owned it, Pete. They rent chairs that you can carry across and use, which is nice.
That I get. I can see.
But apparently the chairs disappear if it's not Thursday through Sunday.
They probably put them around their pool.
Well,
I'm surprised they didn't charge you chairs for the pool.
Yeah, I didn't even get.
Oh, don't
I didn't even
suggest
get
that.
that far.
Don't suggest that. They'll want that next.
I started to head down the hallway where the hotel pool was. Like, yeah.
One of the reviews
I
said
don't
there
think
wasn't
so.
a pool.
Yeah, there was, but yeah,
So what was the view you were looking at?
it was just a service alley.
Yeah, like a walkway.
Yeah. So is that video good enough for me to allow it to go viral or national if I need it to?
I would send it to the local news station saying,
Yeah,
do you know
me
this
too.
hotel, this crap hole is in your neighborhood?
All right, so the production is decent enough.
Yeah.
All right. Not bad for 3 a.m, hey, Kathy?
I know what you're doing at 3 a.m. Looking for ice buckets.
All right, so
Man.
I did that right after
The ghost
the
tour?
ghost tours. And
Great. I had a great time.
and it all was nice. It was different. We had a lot of ghosts.
It was very different.
And I'm going to let you talk about it in a minute.
Very different.
I videotaped the second day,
Yes, you did. Thank you.
but it's not going up on Channel 15 for obvious reasons. It was videotaped to use in schools if we need to teach students about something. It was recorded so that the Historical Commission can learn from it, can see what they need to tweak, et cetera, et cetera. So a recording does exist. And you saw everyone perform because you were performing, but you didn't see yourself perform, Kathy.
No, I did not.
All right, guess what's going to happen now?
Oh, no.
Pete?
We're going to see Sarah Gillett, not Gillette, Gillett. And you know what I didn't realize? What an idiot I am. There's a fabulous thing posted in the Women's Club right in the lobby all about Sarah Gillett. Because she was one of the first.
You mean Gillette?
Gillett.
Gillette.
She donated $10,000 along with Mrs. George Cushing. They both donated $10,000 each to build the building on Court Street.
A lot of money
in
back
those-
then.
Yeah, $20,000.
That was like a $250,000.
You could, yeah.
Yeah. So, Pete, let's watch Palmer Ghost 24.
Oh, dear God. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. My name is Lucy Gillett. Now, I know what you're thinking. I do. It is not Gillette. It is Gillett. And here I was born on November 20th in 1856 into a very well-known Westfield family. As a matter of fact, I was born right across the street over there in the room that you call the Whitney Study upstairs in the Westfield Athenaeum. My brother Frederick was elected to the United States Senate, And before he was a senator, he was Speaker of the House of Representatives. My other brother, Arthur, was a very well-known professor in the Hartford Theological Seminary. Now, in my time in Westfield, when I was alive, I was involved in many civic organizations. But you know, everyone, my favorite organizations involved the children of Westfield. I was head of the 4-H for 20 years right here. I was also very involved with the children of this very church that we are in. I served in missionary works, as well as in opportunities for children and programs that are still here in use today. I even purchased a home on Lathrop Avenue to be used as their parsonage. However, that wasn't the only property that I purchased for Westfield. I also bought a home up on Court Street to be used for the YMCA. You today refer to it as the mansion. In addition to purchasing the building, I also donated $100,000 for an addition so that women and girls could also have programs at the local YMCA. In addition to the Y, I was a card-carrying member and one of the founding members of the Westfield Women's Club and the Women's HVW Club, as well as the Hampden County Historical Society. And I was always very happy to open my home to any of these groups that wish to use it for their meetings. But I'll tell you my favorite thing. My secret. It wasn't a secret. I love driving around town in my 1916 Model T Ford until I was well into my 80s. And I passed my driver's test every time. Although I did notice in the later years that the police sort of looked the other way while I parked several feet away from the curb. Oh well. But of all the things that I did in the city and for the city, my proudest venture was when I donated my family's home right on the corner of Elm Street and Court to be used as your Westfield Athenaeum. It was the Fowler Gillette home, and it still says Fowler Gillette over the doorway in the Boys and Girls Library. That's the section that was originally my home. In 1927, they enlarged that library. And then in 1966, they added another addition that really doubled the size of the Boys and Girls Library. I passed away at the wonderful age of 92 in 1949. And I am buried, well, of course I'm buried. I'm buried up in Pine Hill Cemetery with the rest of the Gillette family. Thank you for listening.
So, Kathy, thanks for telling us that story about the Gillette family.
No, you're doing it again. It's not the stadium where what's-his-name used to work. It's
Gillette.
It's Gillette.
All right.
Not Gillette. Gillette. Actually, the spelling is different. There's no E at the end.
Oh, okay.
But everyone in Westfield always does say Gillette, and I understand that because that's...
Well, if I actually saw it without the E at the end, I would say
That's
Gillette.
Would you?
Yeah.
See, people just don't. They read it
No.
that way. But that's okay. It's all right. We had a great time. We did very well. We had some very nice audiences. We tended to have more in the beginning show than we did in the end, but it's that way in the ghost tours too.
Yeah, I also think that, well, at a 6 o'clock show, all right, we get out at 7. Let's do a slightly late dinner, and we'll go over to yep. And now the other show, it gets out at 8:30. Well, what are we going to do downtown?
Yeah.
So I can see why the earlier shows.
I understand there were a lot of people that went to a close restaurant first. So it also helps the downtown restaurants. Speaking of which, Ray Ray's has opened, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
I believe it has. You'll have to try that. Try that, Peter?
Oh, not yet.
10 to 2, takeout only right now.
Ah,
And if you actually followed me on Facebook, you'll see that I posted a photo of one of their sandwiches yesterday.
I did see that.
Okay.
I did see that, and you mentioned they were going to have a soft opening.
Yeah. So I got a Cubano from them yesterday, and I'd put it up against any of the Cubanos I got out of Little Havana last week.
Okay, I'm going to admit something to you. I've never had one ever.
Roast pork,
Okay.
ham, Swiss cheese, pickles, yellow mustard, and it's pressed.
I'm not.
And they're really friggin' good.
Okay.
But they also have a Reuben on there, too. So
I do like Reuben.
next week I'll be trying their Reuben, and I'll be posting a picture of that.
Okay. Well, let us know.
Bunch of friendly folks down there. I was talking with them for a bit while I
Good.
was waiting.
And we have a couple really new places opening up, and there's some great restaurants in the center of Westfield, and people always want to know, well, what's going on? There's nothing going on. If you think there's nothing going on and no place to go, you're just not looking. You know, I can think of at least 4 really nice places just in downtown Westfield that they can go and get a great meal.
Yeah.
And you can walk around. There's things to do. Not a lot, but it's coming. It's coming. We're trying. We're working on it, and hopefully some of the restaurants will make it more of a destination, so that they can come and see Robin Hood in April. There's my shameless plug. I don't care. Shameless. And here's what's interesting about Robin Hood. We have more men than we know what to do with. In most productions and theater, you're begging for men. If you do The Sound of Music, good luck with that. Good luck with finding men, because it's basically all women. With the nuns and Maria, it's hard to find men to do that. But Robin Hood, we have, I will bet you, there's more than a dozen. There's well over a dozen men. So
When's that?
it is the first 3 weekends in April.
Oh, I'm going to be either in New York or Vegas.
Not for all 3 weekends, and I know where you are, and
Most
I
of
will
them.
come and get you. I will come and get you. But it's a great, Westfield has some great places to eat. You know, from Hispanic restaurants to traditional to barbecue. It'll be great. What is your favorite kind of food to eat? Favorite? Barbecue, Cajun? What do you like the best? Or you like everything pretty much, though, don't you?
It's hard for someone like me to narrow it down, because I will go from Korean barbecue to Hawaiian barbecue to pizza to sushi. You know what I don't care for?
What's that?
Italian.
Oh, that's my go-to.
I'm not goo gaga over.
Oh, no,
and you know, it came up yesterday. I had a conversation with someone. They mentioned spaghetti and meatballs as Italian. I'm like, that's not an Italian dish. Spaghetti and meatballs is an American dish.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No meatballs?
So
pasta is Italian.
yeah. Well, is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Isn't it?
Pasta.
Hey, listen, I saw The Godfather. Pasta's Italian.
Pasta could have originally been Chinese.
Oh, well, yeah, noodles were, yeah.
Yeah. So
Because when I was a kid, we just called it spaghetti. Now it's pasta.
you called it.
Say
You call it spaghetti
Yeah.
and not
spaghetti.
pischetti.
No, I didn't say
You never said
spaghetti.
pischetti.
Oh, no.
All right. I like pizza. I appreciate a good marinara, but I don't go Google guy. If I have a choice of 5 or 6 different restaurants and one of them is Italian, that would probably be my last.
Oh, no, that's my go-to.
Yeah, because the other ones would probably have, gosh, the word is escaping my head right now. Galbi. Galbi is a Korean barbecue. It's
What? How do you
Bulgogi.
yeah, bulgogi is another. That's the one I was thinking of. Bulgogi. I'd rather have bulgogi than
And that's
than
what,
spaghetti and
Peter?
meatballs.
What is that?
It's Korean barbecue.
Yeah,
Okay. I always learn from you two.
yeah.
I've had it several. Actually, I have the sauce for it at home. I make it.
Really? Mm-hmm. I've never even had it. I don't even know what it was.
Are there any H Marts near where we're going?
I didn't look.
I'm gonna have to look.
There might be one in Buffalo.
Where are you two going?
Well, I'm thinking there might be one in Albany as we pass by there.
Where are you going now, the two of you?
Oh, I told you I was going to
The
be in
eclipse.
New York in Albany, New
Yeah,
York
we're going
in
for the
April.
eclipse.
You told me that?
No, I just said literally 2 minutes ago I'm going to be in New York in April.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but I don't know when
You weren't even listening.
I was listening, but sometimes you just say things to me.
Yeah.
I never know if they're for real or not.
No.
I have to wait and see.
No, we are going to
You
be
would
in.
never
We are
know.
going to be in a great viewing path for the eclipse coming up in April.
Oh, that's right. You did mention doing that before. You said you wanted to, but you didn't say you were definitely going.
I've got the hotel
You're
room booked
definitely
already.
going. Peter, you let him book the hotel room?
It's Wyndham.
Okay.
Yeah, we had looked. We found a spot about an hour out from where we want to go.
That's close.
That works pretty well. There's nothing close, by the way. I just
I
looked.
know, but an hour is close.
Mm-hmm.
The closest H Mart is Detroit.
Ugh. All right.
I don't know how far away that is.
That's
Actually,
several hours.
to us, the closest one is Burlington.
Yeah, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now, what is H Mart?
it's
The
an
Korean
Asian
grocery
market.
store.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
You
there-
mentioned that before.
It's an Asian market like the size
yeah,
of Big
yeah,
Y.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
There's
so
actually
we'll be
4
there.
in the Boston area now.
Really?
Yeah, Brookline, Burlington, Quincy,
Well, see, the Burlington one is nice. It's
Quincy.
off and off, on and off of 95 out
Quincy.
there. Yeah.
There might be 2 in Brookline.
Well, that's not too far.
Oh, there's
away.
one in Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
Seems fitting the People's Republic would have a Korean grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're staying about an hours away from where we're going to be setting up our cameras for the eclipse.
Now, what's the date of the eclipse?
April 8th.
April 8th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there happens to be a casino across the street from the hotel I found.
Okay, then. I know what you're going to be spending your time doing.
And because I have diamond level with Wyndham, we get early and late check-in and check-out if we need it.
Do they have beach chairs? Do they have buckets in their room for ice?
They don't, they don't have a resort fee, period.
This is a relatively new concept. When did they start charging
Oh, Christ.
resort
I've been
fees?
dealing with resort fees for over 15 years.
Really?
Yeah. They used to call them destination fees.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's just a way to get more money for things you're not going to probably.
Well, originally it was.
Some of it.
Originally it was, okay, well, if you're going to use our Wi-Fi, we need to pay for the network we just put in. If you're going to use our pool, well, we have to pay extra for the pool. So we're going to have you pay for these things that we're providing that are extra. Well, now everybody's offering all these extras, and the resort fee also covers the gym, the fitness
That I
room.
know, yeah.
And I promise I use one at every single
never
hotel I
used one.
check into.
I've never used one.
Yeah. I just lied right out of my teeth. Yeah.
Yeah. They have that on the ship too, when you go on your cruise. They have they have exercise rooms, they have golf courses, they have pools, they have hot tubs.
Do they have nudie bars?
They have well, I'm sure some do actually. There's a Bigfoot cruise. They have all kinds of
They had a
cruises.
Star Trek cruise.
Yes,
Yeah, they have all
Star Trek
kinds
one.
of
I'd love to
special
go on that one.
cruises.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
They had a New Kids on the Block cruise. They have all kinds.
I wish I could afford the Virgin Atlantic cruises, but
I don't know.
yeah, they're adult only. There aren't kids running around.
I didn't see a lot of that. There were families there, but I didn't see a lot of family, and there weren't a lot of kids that were on. They weren't unaccompanied. They weren't running around. They weren't in your way. I did not see that. And you can't beat the cruises for service. I mean, everybody's smiling all the time. Can I get you something? You sit down. Your stuff is right there. The waiter is smiling. What can I do? What can I get you? There's nothing they don't do for
I think I'm considering the budget economy cruise line though. Isn't that what Carnival is?
No, it's the party cruise line.
Yeah,
They are cheaper because they cater to a younger audience. But you would have fun. You'd have fun on a Carnival.
Yeah.
They're all owned by the same. They're all affiliated. Carnival,
There's two.
Princess,
There's two big ones.
They're all affiliated. So, and they run different sections. I don't think Carnival goes to Alaska. They might, but I don't think they do.
Party people don't want to go to Alaska.
I want to know. It's fabulous.
I could care less about going to the edge of the ship and looking at that stuff go by.
Oh, it's
I could care less.
It's amazing. Yeah. I thought that too. I thought, oh, big deal. A bunch of ice. Okay. But it was absolutely dropped dead amazing. It's just bigger.
Every time I open my mind up to something like that and I try it, I'm like,
It's bigger. It's just boggles the mind. And you can
WOFT.
When you're laying on the ship at night and if you lay perfectly still, you can feel, I know you'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to just very slightly feel the ship sway. But you have to lie absolutely still to feel it. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fun. So much fun. And when you pull into port and you look out and there's all these massive, these ships, Peter, they're massive. And you pull in and there's like five cruise ships pulling in. It's just, all these people. And I the thought goes through my head, all the money.
And what thought goes through my head with that? And then we have
those ships are $1 billion and a half each.
Yeah.
And where are people getting?
And speaking of
all the money.
Speaking of the people, that my thing is, the logistics. Now we have to get all these people on and off within a certain amount of time.
They do it too.
And they do. I'm telling you. And I heard
5,000 people off in like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and somebody said
you have to wait an hour and a half to get off the damn boat.
No, it's a piece of cake. It really is.
No, they do it orderly.
They have it so you. Yeah, you have a checkout time. You go to you all have a certain spot that you go to.
Well, what if I have the trots at that moment in time and I can't make it?
You can get off anytime. It's not a big deal. But you go and you're not.
Because, Ozempic happens, okay?
I don't think we were sitting there 30 minutes. I really don't. Getting on is a hassle.
See, we got all our stuff beforehand. We just kind of walked through.
We did
too.
Checked in. We did too, Peter, but it's still long lines. It's still long lines.
I don't deal with long lines because I have an elevated tier wherever I go to check in. I have a VIP check-in area.
We did too. You have everything all done. The medallion's all done. You walk through, but you still have to walk through here, walk through there, walk through here. It wasn't, it wasn't
WOFT.
You'll have, stop telling him all that. He'll let him go.
You know what? We have to go because we have a guest waiting.
Really, you will. You'll love it.
All right. On the other side of the break, Gene Thoreau.
Hey, this!
Burn down the store. Take what you want and more. Shop until you drop. Voodoo consumer never stop. Load up on supplies. No sale, no compromise. Gun crazy down the mall. Voodoo consumer, take it all.
Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it. It's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Fabulous.
Drive me to the bank. Kneel down and give me thanks. Grab your credit card. Voodoo consumer, kiss me hard.
Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it. It's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous. Take it all too far. terminus.
Eat this, drink this, drive this, buy this, wear this, fly this, play this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford to fake it, be deviously dangerous, ridiculously marvelous, meticulously treacherous, disarduously cruel, just make it fabulous.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio. 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And we are back.
We are back, yes, and we have a guest here, a very well-known guest in the city of Westfield.
You think? Hey, Vlad, don't go closing that door. Go see Mr. Coles now. You're welcome, Pete.
Yeah.
So we are joined by Mr. Gene Thoreau. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning, Gene. Welcome. Welcome.
Is your title in town grave officer? Is that?
Veterans Grave Officer.
Veterans Grave Officer. Okay. What does that entail?
Well, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 115, Section 9, says that every city and town will designate a Veterans Grave Officer to maintain veterans' graves and to ensure that every veteran's grave is maintained, cleaned, and that every veteran has a flag prior to Memorial Day.
Okay. All right. And this is not just plots that were put in by, let's say, the medical center or a veterans organization. It could be a private family plot.
Absolutely. There's no distinction between public and private.
Okay. All right. So the flags go up by Memorial Day.
Yes.
Do you have to go around and take them down at some point?
Only at St. Mary's Cemetery.
Okay, that's why I asked. Yeah.
So what happens at St. Mary's is the American Legion Post 124 is responsible for flagging that cemetery.
Okay.
So a week before Memorial Day, they'll get a party to go up there of volunteers to flag the cemetery. And then a week after Memorial Day, they return the flags to take them down. And then a week before Veterans Day, they do the same thing. So it's a very time-consuming process. Whereas we like to honor veterans each and every day.
Okay. All right. And you're not just doing this for Westfield, are you?
No, I do it for Southwick as well as I help the town of Ludlow, as well as I've helping the city of Agawam and many others, as well as Quabbin Park Cemetery. I'm the president of the board of directors of the Friends of Quabbin.
All right. I asked that because I know he gets involved with Southwick.
And I've seen him up in Russell, too. I've seen Gene pretty much everywhere. How many cemeteries in Westfield do you service?
There's 9 cemeteries in Westfield. 5 of them are city-owned. Only one of them is an active cemetery, and that is Middle Farms Cemetery. In fact,
I'm familiar with that.
Middle Farms, we've been doing work up there for the last few years, and I'm quite proud of the work of
yeah, that's very well kept.
You're going to have to tell me where that one is.
You know where Kaczynski Farms is? You know the hill.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
It's at the corner there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Corner of
I
Russell
never knew
Street.
the name of that cemetery.
It's on it. It says it right on
I never really looked.
My brother-in-law's there, and he is a veteran.
Huh.
He's buried there. Yep. And it's very well kept. It's beautifully maintained.
It's remarkable that if you spend some time with people and you show them how to do the processes to maintain it and get them interested and motivated, how far it will go.
Right. So there is a special process when it comes to this. Now, I remember when I was first grade or second grade, we went down to do grave rubbing on Mechanic Street.
We're not
We don't do that
doing
anymore.
No, we do not. It really damages the integrity
Yeah,
of the stone.
we didn't know that back then.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Yeah. But now the whole thing is cleaning these stones, and there is a process.
Yes, and actually what happens is that pre-COVID, I would have or schedule through Pine Hill a couple cleanup days, as well as I would work with the Westfield Historical Commission.
Mm-hmm.
We have many partnerships across the whole spectrum, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go and I'll inspect for safety because there's a lot of hazards in the cemetery, particularly like some of these monuments. There's nothing holding them.
Oh, okay. They can fall.
They can fall.
Uh-huh.
And, many people get hurt, so I ensure that there's no loose tablets, and I'll flag the ones.
Are there still any headstones on Mechanic Street that haven't been righted yet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We were using one in the ghost tours, not the last time, I think the time before, and it was doing this.
Uh-huh.
So we needed to have that shored up, yeah. We haven't identified all of these gravestones in the Mechanic Street. Some of them are still buried.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have disappeared, as you know.
Right.
I know Bruce Cordes has tried to document every stone in that cemetery.
Yes, he has an extensive book, and it's an ongoing project. We keep updating it. It is available at the Westfield Athenaeum. There's a list of all the known headstones in addition to their backstories and who they're related to and so forth. It's very extensive.
Wow.
And we do get a lot of calls. We get people asking us, we get people coming from around the country, and they'll call us up and say, well, we're related to so-and-so. Where is their grave?
Oh, so they're tracking lineage.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people do that. In fact, with the Veterans Tax Exemption Work-Off Program, we worked in the old burying ground 3 times this past year, and we'll be working there more this year, particularly the Revolutionary War veterans, since we're rapidly approaching the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. And I will say that Mechanic Street Cemetery, the old burying ground, is very special to me because my 9th great-grandparents were in there.
Wow. What do you mean by 9th grade grandparents?
Well, 9 generations.
Oh, okay, 9, okay, that, yeah. Wow.
My 10th great-grandfather was Sergeant William Pritchard.
Okay, I get it, yeah.
And so he was killed on August 2nd, 1675, at Wheeler Surprise.
Geez, you got some lineage here.
Oh, that's just a small part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm a direct descendant of 2 Revolutionary War veterans, and their descendants ended up living in the former Swift River Valley, and they lost their homes, their properties, and the Quabbin Reservoir Project.
How far back did your ancestors come over on,
I'm a descendant of 4 Mayflower travelers.
That's incredible. I hear that, and I'm like, gee, I don't feel like much because my family came over late 19th century through Ellis Island. Well, we did it the right way.
Right.
We did it the right way.
Well, it's kind of interesting. On my mother's lineage, the latest arrival was 1623, other than my great-grandmother who came over as a little child from Ireland with her aunt.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And any stories passed down with dealing with the Indians in the area?
Yes. Well, in fact, Sergeant William Pritchard was killed by the Indians by an ambush. He was one of 8 that killed. And later that day, on the siege of Quabog Plantation, Brookfield, Massachusetts, his son was killed by the Indians. He was they beheaded his, and they kicked his head around like a soccer ball for a while. If you go to Salem Croft Inn in West Brookfield, there's a painting depicting that scene. Daughter Hannah, after the 10-day siege, she migrated to Westfield and married Eliezer Weller, so that's where the Westfield connection came in. And then she also, my grandmother had a sister, Elizabeth, that migrated to Suffield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It was not Suffield, Connecticut back then.
Yeah, there's a whole thing going on with the Suffield, Granby, Southwick, and the little dip there. Sometimes it's not called the dip; they call it the notch.
So then what happened was she met a guy down there named John Allen, and they moved to Deerfield, Massachusetts. So some 29 years after her father and her brother were killed, she and her husband ended up with the same fate, killed by the Indians in the Queen Anne War.
I'm just trying to.
It's a wonder you're here.
So the trek up to Deerfield, what year approximately did that take place?
Well, they moved up there about 1700, and then were killed in 1704.
Okay, so now
1704 is the siege.
What was that trek like in 1704?
I wouldn't have wanted to make it. I wasn't there. I can't imagine people even traveling.
Yeah, we didn't have Route 10. We didn't have 91.
No.
I mean, we didn't have 5. How? And there's some hills between here and Deerfield.
Pretty much they followed the river.
That
was your main route of transportation.
Yeah, I can see that. And because the river is providing a lot of things, that's where you're going to run into everything you're going to run into.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So a while back, you sent me a deck with like 80 slides in it. And we're going to just work our way through it. We know we're not going to get all the way through this deck. We're probably going to have you back on. But Vlad, if you can call up my laptop. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're at the beginning of the deck. So obviously we're looking at you. We have James. He's the Veteran Services Officer now.
Yeah, he works claims and all that, and we have a very good staff. This is the staff of the Veteran Service Office.
Yeah, I work with Julie a lot for filming the veterans events in town.
And the office is where?
It's 45 Noble Street in the Council of Aging building.
Okay.
All right, so you tell me when you want to stop on one of these decks here. So
well, this is the centerpiece, if you will, at Pine Hill Cemetery, the Civil War Soldier Monument. Ralph Lay had that done in his likeness, and it was unveiled on Decoration Day or Memorial Day, 1900. Some people might say, well, it's kind of vain of him having it cast in his own image.
Right.
But he was a Civil War veteran. He lost 2 brothers in the Civil War, and as well as a 3rd brother that was wounded. And you see all those veterans' gravestones.
Yes, all the flags.
They were all raised, leveled, and plumbed. They were all over the place. So it's really beautiful there.
Yeah, so we noticed some of the statues around town, they've been reconditioned back to original. I noticed this still has the green patina on it.
There's no green patina on any of those sculptures anymore.
Okay. All right. So this is maybe a slightly older photograph. The statue's been redone?
Oh, absolutely. They were done 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I'm very grateful for the cooperation and the work through the Historical Commission and the Community Preservation Commission, through Parks and Rec and City Council getting it approved. I can tell you that the cooperation and the working relationship throughout the town to make this project a reality was phenomenal.
And where in Pine Hill is that?
That is if right in the center of the cemetery, probably. Once you go in the main gate, there's a paved road on top of the hill.
Yep.
Take a left there, and you can't miss it.
All right. What do we have next? Okay.
These are the 9 cemeteries.
All right.
And then the ones that have the asterisk are the city-owned cemeteries.
Okay. And we were saying that the only one that's currently active is the Middle Farms.
That's correct.
And when we say active, that means people can currently be
buried
interred
there,
Okay.
yes.
All right. All right. We already spoke about the old burying ground.
So you can just scroll through.
Yeah.
These plaques were done over this past summer.
Yeah, those had the green patina as
Yes.
well. All right. Okay, so this right here is when you're walking into.
Yes, that's
that
correct.
Cemetery.
And, a couple of years ago, I cleaned those gravestones and those monuments and applied D2 biological solution.
All right. Let's Vlad. Let's back over to the set. You tell us more about this D2 and this solution that you're referring to.
Well, D/2 biological solution is used by conservators. It's used by the National Park Service and all the national cemeteries. It's used by the Veterans Administration. It's used by the Department of Interior and the White House, on the Supreme Court, and it's exclusively used. It doesn't damage the landscape. What happens is that what people don't realize is that the staining is inside the stone. So a lot of people go in there and try to do some scrubbing, and they're damaging the surface. So not all gravestones will be gently scrubbed. Part of the process is you look at them. If they're sugaring or if they're starting to delaminate, you just apply D2 and walk.
And the D2 is good regardless whether it's granite or sandstone or
wood, anything. So what happens is that the D2 works its way into the stone. And so then through the magic of nature, through the rain, sun, it continues to clean and brighten. So
okay, so this isn't a one-time go in there, clean it, and it's ready to go. It
keeps working.
It's ongoing.
And then also too is that part of our process is I document everything. So I have a database, and I document when we do the work. And so now that it's been several years that I've been doing this, I can go back and I can look, and those monuments that are by trees and all that, the lichens and the algae starts coming back. So we have a baseline of knowing when we have to revisit those graves to apply D2. No scrubbing, just to spray D2 and walk away. And I also use the database to forecast work, document work, because when I do my surveys through the cemetery, I document the GPS burial coordinates, and it's written onto a photo with the GPS burial coordinates and the date and time. And then I have folders on my phone, and I put that particular photo in that respective folder. And then I'll go home, and I'll update my database, and then I'll look at Find a Grave, and as a public service, I create or correct any of the vital information on Find a Grave and put the GPS burial coordinates and add a memorial as if there's not one there. And then also is that behind every monument, there's a personal story. So I'll do research in genealogy bank. I'll do research in ancestry.
Kathy's shaking her head. I think she's a little familiar with it.
And so simply, probably for every hour that I'm in the cemetery, it probably equates to 5 or 6 hours worth of work at home.
So now, Kathy, I know that you've been involved with some cleaning crews on Mechanic Street.
Yes, we do.
Is it the same thing with you folks? You just spray the D2 and don't do anything?
Absolutely. Well, you can wet it. You wet it down, and honestly, a rainy day is a great day to do it because the rain helps it, and it'll keep on working, and it'll keep on cleaning. And he's right. We clean it, and then a few days later, it still brightens up more and more.
Even after a few months.
Yep.
That's incredible.
And hopefully it makes such a difference if you could see the difference between how the stone looks before you start it and then once you've cleaned it. But please, folks, don't decide to go in on your own and try to clean things out.
No.
Please contact Jean or contact the Historical Commission. Don't try to do it. We were in one cemetery, and it doesn't matter which one it was, and obviously somebody had cleaned. We don't know how they did it. We don't want to know, maybe.
Well, in fact, And I'm glad that Kathy mentioned that, because you should not go into any cemetery and do that without coordinating with the owner or the superintendent of that cemetery.
Even if it's your own family stone, please don't. Please don't. Please ask.
And then also, too, what's important to note is that many cemeteries do not have automated records. So their records are on index cards. So the work that I'm doing, I've had to append many of the records. And when I'm verifying and validating the veterans' information, afterwards I share that with the keepers of the cemetery, as well as giving it to Max at the Athenaeum so that it's archived. I'm not doing this for my own personal hobby. This is for the long term.
All right. A moment or two ago, you mentioned Find a Grave. I want to touch upon that because that's a very useful system that you can go on to.
It's also useful for people looking for ancestry information because it'll give you can go from one source to the next source to the next source, and it's a user friendly site. It's an app you can put on your phone, and it's very user friendly.
And it's not cemetery specific. You don't put in a certain cemetery and then look for somebody. You can right, but you can just put in a name to look at all the cemeteries online. Am I mistaken with that one?
Throughout the world.
Throughout the world.
Yeah. In fact, an interesting thing happened a couple of weeks ago. The first enlisted person that died in World War I was Mr. Bozak, and there was a monument for him on that little island by the office of Pine Hill Cemetery, where you come off West Silver Street and intersect with
Holcomb Park.
Yes, and so he died overseas. So I found the cemetery where he was overseas. There was no photo of the headstone, so I did a photo request for that headstone. Probably within a few days, I got a response. And a gentleman named Claude put the picture of the headstone up on Find a Grave.
That's nuts. That is incredible. Hey, Vlad, we're going to jump back over to my laptop to see what we have for more. Okay, here we are with the process of cleaning.
In fact, that was a workshop that we had at the old burying ground on October 9th. I believe it was 2021.
That's what it says.
I was there.
And so Jonathan Appel is demonstrating how to properly repair gravestones, in this case, a granite tablet on a base. So that particular tablet probably weighs about 700 pounds. And then
I see some shims there.
Yes. So he leveled and plumbed the base, and then he's using the shims to put down.
You can't leave the shims in there permanently because those will rot.
Oh, no. He's just using that to get it centered on the base. And then he's got just using a little tool to lift that. It's all leverage. And then he pulls those little shims out.
So now I know. Now you have to secure it and then further level it out. Do you use a cement, a mortar? Do you
Now, in the case of that, they use setting compound on granite, and so primarily it's just to keep the moisture and keep the bugs out.
All right.
It's pretty much staying in place by the weight of the monument.
Oh,
itself.
okay. All right. Let's continue through the deck. Thanks for keeping up on that, Vlad.
So here's some more work at the old burying ground. There was a bunch of tablets over there in the woods, and they were leaning all over the place. And so the team of veterans are there. They level and plumbed and the gravestones, and then and then we clean them afterwards as well. And we repair the landscape and plant grass seed because it's critically important to have good landscape around the monuments because it helps keep them in place. I've been to places like in Delaware. I did 2 workshops in Delaware, and they sprayed Roundup around the monuments to kill all the trying to alleviate maintenance.
I love using Roundup in my yard. I go through a lot of it.
But simply,
but I don't have graves or anything important back there.
But
well, that's good to know.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there is something buried back. We're gonna have to get some ground penetrating radar just to double check. I mean, I live in an old neighborhood.
But the point is that the Roundup can also cause damage to those old historic.
And that's why I mentioned I don't have anything like that. Yeah. All right.
And you wonder why I don't believe you half the time when you say things.
Yeah. How can you tell when Kenny's lying? His lips are moving.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that picture with the tree in the background. There's a lot of incredible trees.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Cemetery.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a problem, but then you look at it and you go, you know what? That tree has to be 200 years old.
Yeah, but the trouble is some of the roots on that very large one in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
That's a problem. We've got a couple trees like that. We did have an arborist in to look at some of it, but it costs money.
Now, at what point in time did you deal with vaults when you were putting someone in the ground?
Well, I don't deal with vaults and doing any.
No. I'm just wondering if just at that cemetery, if the casket went in the ground, or if there was some type of vault or something around it.
Well, actually, in some cemeteries, the older ones, they just did direct burials in pine boxes years ago.
That's what yeah.
And I've actually was documenting a veteran's grave. And actually was someone that died in service in World War II. Mm-hmm. And my left foot started sinking in the ground. The grave collapsed.
I was just going to mention, you walk around Mechanic Street, and it does that. And you can,
But I'd like to regress back to trees for a moment. Yeah. Because I like calling Southwick the South Village, because it was the South Village of Westfield. Mm-hmm. So recently... last year...
That old cemetery has a lot of tree problems.
Not any longer.
Oh, okay.
No longer.
Do tell.
Not longer. Because I wrote a Community Preservation Act asking for $105,000, and it was approved by the town meeting. So every one of these hazardous trees and invasive species were removed. Mm-hmm. There was a total of 77 trees removed from that old cemetery.
Wow!
And so I've had enough experience repairing damages from fallen limbs and all the rest of that stuff, and I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. And I didn't want to nickel dime stuff. So get it done. And the bottom line is going to be is that it's going to be safety for the visitors, for our maintenance folks. It's going to improve the landscape, and it's going to reduce the recurring cost of having to revisit those gravestones to clean.
Yeah, not this last time, but the time prior, they do a daytime ghost tour type thing in Southwick. I believe you were there when I was filming it that year, and a lot of the mentions going on were the trees in that cemetery, how, this limb, and there were examples of how some of the headstones were laying down because of this. So those trees are gone or repaired or taken care of.
Yeah, and in fact, it was really remarkable that the tree service that did it was from Easton, Massachusetts. So you're talking about a 2-hour commute to come to Southwick, and they were the lowest bidder.
Well, you also have to know what you're doing in a situation
like
that.
They did a remarkable job. Yeah. And then also we were able to have the stumps grinded. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised that we were able to get that done for less than 2/3 the cost of what we had projected it might cost, worst case. Yeah. And the only thing that we failed to do, we should have included them removing the grindings from the tree trunks. Mm-hmm. But every day you learn something.
Right. And for folks who are listening, we're talking about the old Southwick Cemetery. When you're going down 10 and 202, there's a big cemetery on your left. There's an old section and a new section.
Right.
And all these issues were in the old section. And if you've never been there before, drive in and look around, because it really goes far back.
No, it's a big cemetery.
It's a huge cemetery.
And so what we're going to be planted is trees that don't grow more than 15 to 20 feet and multiple different colors, so it'll be pretty. And reduce the maintenance of what the cemetery maintenance folks have to do, as well as fall cleanup and all that stuff. It'll be very minimal. The problem is that these invasive trees, and some of them were planted, people just didn't know what the long-term effect would be. And we have a lot of issues in Westfield in our cemeteries about we need to mitigate the trees, whether it be Owen District or whether it be the old burying ground or whether it be Mundale New or West Parish, if you will. And Old Mundale, which is surrounded by these huge trees. If any one of these came down, it would devastate that entire cemetery.
Yeah, and I can get how even if you know what you're putting in, it may not be what you're actually putting in. Up at Pine Hill, it was supposed to be dwarf evergreens next to the family stone. 6 years later, they're 2 feet above the stone, and we ended up having to remove them.
Absolutely.
But we were sold as them being dwarf, and they were not supposed to grow any higher than that stone.
Well, what happens is that the family has good intention about putting those evergreens in there without realizing that they may not be around in 40 years to maintain it.
Yeah.
And it puts a huge burden onto the cemetery maintenance folks. That's why you'll find that a lot of these cemeteries have very strict rules prohibiting that type of stuff. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because people think when they buy a plot in the cemetery, they're not buying and owning a piece of property. They're just purchasing a right for burial. And so with that said, they have to coordinate with the cemetery prior to doing things because they have very strict rules.
Yeah, we actually we're in good with Pine Hill. Our family stone is near the beginning as we go through the main entrance, and they have tours every so often. And that, at some point in time, that stone was either starting off or ending the tours at that cemetery because of how unique the stone was. So,
and there's going to be a tour there in June this year, and it's up there on the very top of the hill on that main gate on the right side. And so there's actually a lot of work that's been done up there, and it is remarkable how well it looks up there now.
Right. Vlad, let's bounce back to the deck here. So this is more cleaning. So what are you doing on the right-hand side there, Gene?
On the right-hand side, I'm just cleaning a gravestone.
Is that applying the D2?
No, I'm rinsing it.
Oh, okay.
But I would go on further into the presentation, particularly where it starts showing some of the mapping stuff.
All right. How far in is it?
Well, why don't you go back one? The team of volunteers, we try to do everything self-help. The only time that we hire a professional conservator or contract one is work that's well beyond the scope of our skill sets and not have the equipment. So, we're all taxpayers. We want to maximize that and have that money go as far. If you go back one more slide. So here's a conservator working on the sandstone. These are the ones that we don't work on. You see that's in the old burying ground.
Okay.
And
I recognize that.
And so Mark is there cleaning out the cracks, and he puts in a grout in there, and the particular materials that he has to use, the mortars and the grout, you have to be trained and certified just to even buy the product, and the product is very, very expensive. And so Mark is doing a fantastic job. In fact, he's done work in Pine Hill. He's going to do some work in Pine Hill this year, as well as we contract them to do work in the Southwick Old Cemetery.
Uh-huh.
We've had a lot of experience with different conservators, and not to take anything away from them, but Mark is he's the best we found thus far on sandstone.
And am I recognizing that monument enough where, let's say you're heading straight into Mechanic Street, is that the one kind of to the left and to the
Yes.
back?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I can't remember the name of that one. Can you?
Yeah. But
James played it. Mosley. Yeah, that's Mosley. Yeah.
but if you go back to that presentation and just advance through the slides, I just want to get to a couple different points where you can see that there's Middle Farms. That's keep going. That's Owen District. Keep going. All right, go back a slide. So now and here I'm going to talk about the database.
Okay.
And so I track all kinds of fields. I do a lot of research to find what unit they were assigned to, what military decorations, their campaigns, where they served, and all that. This particular instance, the Purple Heart recipients, these are Purple Heart recipients in Middle Farms
Oh, wow.
Cemetery. So you see those little green pins?
Mm-hmm.
That's a waypoint. So that tells the GPS burial coordinates. So I control what can be displayed when I build the map. So you advance the next slide. So if you click on one,
there we go.
If you click on one of those pins, it displays information about that particular veteran.
Oh, wow.
And
wow. Wounded 16th August 1944, Purple Heart, European, African, Middle Eastern Theater. Wow. Campaign ribbon with 1 Service Star Combat Infantryman badge. Campaigns in northern France. Wow.
So the events, go through a few more. So then, if you go back a slide, go back one more. So here's one gentleman. You advance the next slide. He was in the Lost Battalion in World War I, and they were under siege by the Germans and surrounded for 5 days.
All right. You're commenting. You know the story. Is there a quick version of it, Kathy?
No, I'll let him continue.
and so
It is what it says.
Right.
And so, so Mr. McEwen, who's pictured now, he was in that unit, but he wasn't there in the siege because he was in the hospital. But he received a Purple Heart, and he was gassed. When I build presentations, I don't just put a slide up there, and so like if a reader is looking at it and they weren't there during the presentation, I like using notes views, and I like qualifying the slides. So if you look on the right-hand side is a link that describes about the unit, and then the next link is to the actual movie on YouTube. If you can go through a couple more.
All right.
So then these are Civil War veterans. This is an interesting story on this particular gentleman. He immigrated from Germany when he was 4 years old. His father had already passed away. And on the ship, his mother passed away. So he came to America with no family, no sponsor, no nothing. And he ultimately served in the Civil War, became a member of the Lion Grand Army Republic Post, held every office in that GAR post, advanced the slide. And there's a picture of him. His GAR commander picture, and then to the right is his obituary. So as Kathy said, every one of these people has a story. So I like retrieving and putting the story together because to me, we have a responsibility and an obligation to maintain the historic stuff, not just for these veterans, but we have so many notable citizens that are interred in the cemetery. When I first started doing this stuff, I was only focusing on veterans. And then I saw all these beautiful Victorian marble and started cleaning those. And then how can you do the veteran and not do the family? Because the family sacrifices more than the veteran does.
How does that fall into place with you being the Veterans Grave Officer, but you working with more than veterans' graves now?
Well,
I mean, you have to do different funding or.
Well, some of the stuff that about doing the others. When you talk about doing a physical thing, lifting, whatever, and then also is that if went out and acquired money, it wasn't just to fix or only focus on veterans. It was focused on the cemetery as a whole.
Okay, good. All right.
You know, when I clean a stone, I was looking at stone. I think it was probably one of the Deweys. Who knows? It's going to be a Dewey or a Noble or a Mosley.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I was cleaning the stone, and the thought goes through my head, and this sounds very schmaltzy, but you will know exactly what I mean. I'm looking at her name, and I'm thinking, don't worry, I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there's still people that will take care of you. And we will, and that's what we do, and that's what he does. We'll take care of you. When your family is gone and there's no one left who even remembers who you are, someone will take care of you.
That's right. And then going back to Pine Hill, I'm very grateful to Ted Dixon and Dale because Ted, his hobby was kind of like trying to find all the Civil War veterans, and he built an index file of 3x5s of who he thought might be Civil War veteran. He spent a tremendous amount of time, and he had a story on my first cousin, 3 times removed, Wesley S. Brass, who was the first American attributed to die in the Spanish-American War. I have 2 sets of 4th great-grandparents at Pine Hill, my 3rd great-grandparents, and my 2nd great-grandparents, and a whole flock of cousins. I have 3 third grand uncles that were Civil War veterans that are interred there, as well as others. So I feel, although...
Yeah, we occupy Pine Hill and St. Joseph's.
And I've done a lot of work up at St. Joe's, too. And I'm finding a lot of heroes up there that, they didn't have anything associating them to being in the service.
There were a lot of service members in that church.
And there's a lot of heroes in there. I found 10 Purple Heart recipients that wasn't documented. And I'd like to do a shout-out to the Purple Heart Trail folks. Because I went to them. We're doing over and above things. For example, we're replacing these thermoplastic flag holders with nice aluminum flat with blades on them that don't turn in the wind. They have stops, so they'll all be uniform height, as well as Purple Heart flag holders with a Purple Heart flag. So the Purple Heart Trail agreed to purchase the Purple Heart cemetery flags each year, as well as any additional Purple Heart flag holders, because we've exhausted our stock.
Yeah, I know City Councilor Cindy Harris gets involved with the Purple Hearts.
Yeah, and so there's slides on the end of it. And then also, too, is that Mike Roeder is trying to have folks that receive the Purple Heart to contact him, because August 7th is National Purple Heart Day.
Right.
And then also do something in the cemetery to honor, remember, and make a significance of Purple Heart Day.
Speaking of Purple Heart, recently, and when I say recently, I'm not talking about the last couple of months, but as far as history is involved, recently something's been added to Cain and Wojciechowicz regarding Purple Heart, hasn't there? And something put up there?
I don't know.
No, there's nothing for...
there's a Purple Heart monument.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't
It's a beautiful monument.
Yeah, it's up close near the bridges.
Right. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. In fact, Chuck Blood of Smith Monuments worked diligently to get it specifically to their demands. I think it has Indian red.
It's a beautiful looking monument.
Absolutely.
I haven't even noticed. How did I miss that?
Well, maybe if you took a walk through Cain and Wojciechowicz Park now and then, you'd see it.
All right.
And then, if we just go back to those slides, Ken, and just...
All right. Vlad, back to the laptop. All right, you want to go back?
Keep going forward.
Oh, okay.
Going forward.
All right.
So we're in Pine Hill. Go back.
I
one
just
sli-
wanted to see if I could see my grave. Yeah. No,
Go
that's
back
blocked.
once. This and the 100th anniversary of the end of World War One.
Mm-hmm.
We did a cleanup day, and what we were focusing on, and we had the American Legion Post 124 members. There's 13 past commanders of American Legion Post 124 interred in that cemetery. And this is the grave site of Franklin Ely.
Another big fan
Charles
from this
Franklin
town.
Ely, who was the second post commander and the younger brother of Governor Joseph Ely. So on the left is...
Speaking of Governor Ely, we saw a visit from him the other night, didn't we?
Steve Pierce, yeah.
Yes.
Steve Pierce, and then I think Chris Lindquist did it the second night.
Yeah.
And so on the left is Sons of American Legion member Brian Hills, his wife Lynn, and daughter-in-law cleaning the Ely family monument.
Okay, so earlier we were talking about,
That's a monumental task.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Yeah, that was a bad joke.
So you meant earlier you said, okay, we just rinse the grave and then we put the D2 on it. But now it looks like I actually see them rubbing.
Yes,
Yeah, but you have to use very soft brushes. Or we even use soft toothbrushes in the letters so we don't damage anything.
All right. So there is some cleaning other than just spraying it on, but we don't want to talk about it or encourage it because it can be bad.
And the brushes that you would use is it'd be natural brush and nothing stiffer that you wouldn't use on your own skin. And then on the right, we purchased some flowers too, and there's Janet who left the area. She lives now in Mississippi, and my wife is on the right-hand side planting flowers.
All right.
So advance the slide. And, these were the first military gravestones that were reset, provided by the VA. And every single veteran's government-provided headstone in the city of Westfield has been reset, leveled, and plumbed with the exception of two, because there was trees there and the roots encroached them, and there was no way that we could lift them without cutting the roots.
So I'm looking at this stone right now, and it reminds me of a particular stone at Mechanic Street, which when they were putting it in, they damaged it. So they flipped it upside down and stuck it in. In that case, there was no base or foundation. I'm looking here. You're kind of digging down. Is there a foundation or base under those?
Those are direct buries.
Okay. All right.
I want you to notice also what's interesting is the title of the slide, Decoration Day.
Okay. And you mentioned that.
Well, because that's originally what it was called, and that was the purpose of it, was Decoration Day.
Right.
All right.
We now call it Memorial Day.
All right. But why am I thinking of Armistice Day?
Yeah.
Well, that's November 11th.
Oh, okay.
11th.
All right.
But
11 o'clock, 11th day, 11th month.
Major General John Logan, who was the Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, he called for Decoration Day, and May 31st was chosen. Well, May 30th was chosen for that day because there was no major battles between the North and the South, and it was an effort to try to have some reconciliation and bring the country together.
All right. So,
Just keep going with the slides for a few moments.
all right. Because we are talking about direct burial on this particular slide, though.
So
how long ago did that process or action stop? I mean, at some point, everything is going on some type of base or foundation,
Yes.
right?
Yes, but with the exception of the government-provided headstones.
Okay.
VA headstone. You'll find some that are set in concrete, but concrete is not something you want to use around marble because it's harder than the marble and it can damage it. But 1/3 of that monument would be in the ground.
Okay. All right. Back to the deck.
So
All right.
in advance, and then we presented Dale. Well, go back next slide. So this is an indication of the veterans that are interred in Pine Hill Cemetery. And that's not all of them because I haven't completed a full survey, row by row, grave by grave. but you can see how many veterans are in Pine Hill. So using a database, I can query, I can filter, and just pick on and choose. So then there's 313 Civil War veterans interred in Pine Hill, and that's the grand total. I completed that. I spent well over 1,000 hours if I didn't spend a minute on that project.
I'm looking for family here, but those family members are either all St. Joe or Agawam. Although I do recognize some names on here. Down at the bottom, Corey DeGray. He served, and
absolutely.
If you ever happen to be in the area, if you happen to be in that cemetery, he's right out front. He has a gorgeous stone.
Black stone on the right-hand side.
Yeah, he has a guitar on his stone. So check it out if you happen to be in
Not
the area.
far from the Governor Joseph Ely monument. Advance the slide, Ken, please. And so here's the Purple Heart recipients in Pine Hill Cemetery.
Oh, wow.
Advance the slide. And that's not all of them. So here's one of them. This is Frank Andrus. He was wounded in World War II. And
I knew Frank.
And then advance the slide. And then so here's information on another one. Advance the slide. Now this is the American Legion Post 124 past commanders.
All right.
And so you'll see there's
The name Cowan.
there's
Cowan. Yep.
13 of them there, and then there's some interesting stories like advance the slide. Here is Milton Gardner. It was kind of interesting. When I first came across his military marker, he was assigned to the 28th Spruce Squadron. So you have any idea what a Spruce Squadron did?
I'm sure you're going to tell us, Gene.
So advance the slide. Well, I'll tell you in a moment. But what a Spruce Squadron, he was an inspector. So there was large camps out in Washington State and Oregon. And so there was a high demand for spruce because spruce was used in airplanes, for the frames, for the wings, the struts.
It's lightweight wood.
And strong.
Yeah.
And then the exterior skin was fabric. And so like on those past commanders at Pine Hill, you see there's a blue flag there.
Okay.
That's an American Legion cemetery flag. So I got the American Legion Post 124 to purchase American Legion cemetery flags. So for those past commanders,
Oh, okay, yeah.
they will have American Legion cemetery flag marker, if you will, on the right-hand side of the marker with that. And then on the left-hand side, we'll either have their war era flag holder or their service component flag holder with an American Legion cemetery flag.
All right. I've got 2 minutes left. We're going to leave the deck, and I'm going to happen to note that we are on, what page are we on? I don't have that screen up yet. I'll save the location, and we can continue talking about this. I don't know, a month or two from now. I'll figure out when we have time. I'm sure you have time to come in here, right?
I can make time for it because
All right.
this is something.
I think it's important.
Well, it is, and trust me, it wasn't in my plan, but it's just one of these things that got interested into it, and then it keeps me on this side of the grass. But I just want to do a shout out for our veterans that have been working on the tax exemption program. They've been doing a remarkable job. There's one position left where these individuals can, if they're a property owner and they reside in the property and they're a veteran, they meet the eligibility, they can work off up to $1,500 off their real estate tax. They have to visit Julie Barnes, our veterans director. And then also, too, is that we also have regular volunteers that want to work with us. So we welcome volunteers any given time to work with us. We will train them, spin them up, how to properly do it, and so that we can get additional people interested in preserving history and these critical historical artifacts.
All right. And I'm just remembering I never jacked in my audio this morning, and I just did. So that weird sound you heard was me tying the audio in because I'm unsure. Pete left for a meeting, so we have one of our students, Vlad, in the control room. I don't have any idea if he knows what my outro music is, so I have that queued up, Vlad. So when we jump to the music going out, all you have to do is switch over to the show logo, and you'll be good to go. I'll be in there to stop the recording. Gene Thoreau, I want to thank you for coming in this morning and giving us a lesson.
Yeah, and then one last thing.
Yeah.
April 15th is Patriots Day. So this year, 11 o'clock, Parker Park, we have a guest speaker, and that's Robert Madison, who wrote the book Biography of Lieutenant Richard Falley Jr., is going to be our guest speaker.
And Parker Street has been redone.
Parker Park is
Parker
done
Park
over.
is redone.
Park is all redone.
Yeah. All right. Next week, Dan Alley will be in here talking about growing with minerals. And then 2 weeks from now, making the list. Peter is the reigning champ, so he's going to have to come up with a topic. And then guess what, Kathy? The week after that, Kathy's Corner. You're going to have to take over the den again. All right. That is all the time I have for you. I'll catch you next week.